Welcome back, you lovely people. In today's video, we're going to zoom out a little bit and have a look at some charts because people are always asking me, how come I'm so bullish on Bitcoin? Particularly, they ask me that question when the price is going sideways or down. So we'll try and answer that question. Before that, let's quickly check in on the price and the market. And look, we had a very nice breakout yesterday, which we covered. And today we are coming back in. We're down 4.5%, giving up the gains of yesterday, but we are coming in to test all of these breakouts. So we broke out of our downward sloping channel. We also had this downward sloping trend line here. So we're coming back in to test all of this. And there's a real battle going on at the moment because we also have this, what could be support or resistance line, depending on where we close. And there's really a battle going on at the moment between the bulls and the bears. Nobody knows who's going to win. Are we going to break back down like we did a couple of weeks ago where we failed with our breakout, or are we coming back into test so that we can resume upwards? And then we'll be looking at 40 to 42,000. We hope it's the latter, but we'll let the market show us. And we know already that if we come down to the downside, then we're potentially looking at 31,000, or we could take out the low and maybe come to the bottom of our channel again, like we have done a number of times now, which would probably be somewhere between 27 and 26,000. So we're in a very, very pivotal moment in terms of our next step, and we'll be following it. So I get the question, why am I so bullish? Particularly, it's understandable from perhaps people who have been investing in Bitcoin, maybe around the top, 50,000 plus, and now they're struggling with this war of attrition that we find ourselves in. And it really is a war of attrition. We were talking about this pullback for a long time. We were expecting it. However, it is going on for a sustained period of time. And we've come down, over 50%. And we expected 40%. So naturally, there is some frustration out there, and people are wondering, are we going to go sideways forever? So let's try and answer that with a few examples. So here's just one very, very small example. This is the European Central Bank balance sheet. And I'm using this as an example because if you looked at the Federal Reserve or the Bank of England, Bank of Canada, Bank of Japan, they all have a very similar pattern. And what is that? Well, the chart is going up and to the right. Again, this looks very much like a Bitcoin chart with the blow off top. And it's not that. These are our central banks who are responsible for the money supply, who are expanding their balance sheet to unseen and unforeseen levels. So the European Central Bank, since the beginning, of the pandemic, it was below 5 trillion euros before the pandemic, and now we're above $7.5 trillion. So the European Central Bank has increased its balance sheet by more than 50% in the past 18 months. So this is the European Central Bank, central banks around the world, printing huge amounts of money in order to prop up their financial systems. And that's only one fraction of the money printing, the quantitative easing, the increase in the money supply. If you have a look at the world debt clocks, which is a good overall representation, you have the US national debt, which is going to surpass $30 trillion at some point in the not too distant future. China above 8 trillion, Japan 14 trillion, and then Germany, UK, India, and they're all increasing at an exponential rate. None of these countries are paying down their debts, which of course means that they're all insolvent, and of course means that the entire world is insolvent. Every central bank, every government is insolvent. So what is the solution to that? Well, there kind of isn't one. All they can do is keep printing money. And what happens when they keep printing money? Well, we see, for those that don't hold assets, we see an increase in inflation, because the definition of inflation is an increase in the money supply. Sooner or later, that filters its way down into the things that we really, really need. And we're seeing that in food prices and the prices of things that are needed to create and manufacture products and services like steel and lumber, and products that we use to make our food. At the same time, it inflates the value of assets, because there is the same amount of assets being chased by an ever increasing number of units of currency, whether that's dollars, pounds, euros, etc. So this is essentially the reason why Bitcoin was created, why it was given to us by Satoshi Nakamoto. Of course, we don't know who that is. It was an immaculate conception, and that is one of the really the keys really to Bitcoin, because there's no single point of failure. And since Bitcoin's inception, the price has gone up, at least measured in dollars. And the reason why the price has gone up continually for 12 or so years measured in dollars is because this clock continues to go up, which is dollars. And of course, all of the clocks continue to go up. So if you had to measure Bitcoin in fiat currency, you could change this for euros or pounds. Then not only has the price been going up for 12 years, but the price is going to continue to go up forever. And that is quite difficult for some people to get their heads around. And that's why we're taking a bit of time to zoom out, because especially when you get too focused on what's going on day to day or month to month, you really lose perspective on the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is that fiat currency is continuing to be debased and devalued. That is built into the fiat monetary system. Every fiat currency has always ended in a hyperinflation and collapse, because once those who are in control of the supply realize that they can print it and make themselves rich and make their friends rich, then they get into a downward spiral, and they use it to facilitate huge government deficits and government spending, and central banks use it to buy financial assets, prop up the system, and make those that hold the assets extremely, extremely wealthy. Bitcoin is the truth. It is the mirror, and it will always provide that counterbalance to fiat currency, because the more fiat currency they create, the higher Bitcoin will go, priced in that fiat currency. And the reason for that is the limited supply. There is only 21 million Bitcoin that will ever exist. So as they continue to create more and more units of currency, but Bitcoin has a limited supply, and that new supply coming to the market is being cut in half every 4 or so years, which is what happens at the halving, then the supply is going down, the demand, because the number of units of currency is going up. There is only one thing that can happen to the price if priced in fiat currency, and that is it goes up. That is a simple law of supply and demand. This is the power of Bitcoin, and this is built into the system that Bitcoin priced in fiat currency will go up forever. Even when we get to a situation where everybody on the planet holds Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is the global reserve currency, and all products and services are priced in Bitcoin. Well, at that point, then what you will see, firstly, we have a continually increasing population. At least we hope so. Let's not get into that. And second to that, the human population, with our ingenuity, our innovation, we are continually getting more and more productive, more innovative. And when we do that and we have free market competition, which again, we don't fully have that at the moment, but in a Bitcoin world, then Bitcoin would facilitate that. It would fix a lot of the problems that we have with capitalism and fix a lot of the reasons why we don't have a free market. Anyway, what happens in that scenario is that the prices of products and services come down, and therefore the value or the purchasing power of Bitcoin continues to go up. So do not worry too much about the sideways movement or the pullbacks, because if you zoom out long enough, then if you're looking back in 12 years or so, it will feel like you were buying in 2012 and 2013. But what is happening at the moment, how do we know that the top isn't in? Well, for me, the best indicator on-chain metrics such as this one. This is the total supply of Bitcoin held by long-term holders. And what you can see here is since the price started coming down, which was, let's see, that was around the middle of April. Well, essentially since the middle of April, the supply held by long-term holders has been going up. What does this mean? Essentially, it means that the whales, or those that have been in the Bitcoin market for a long time, i.e. they understand the Bitcoin cycle. As soon as the price has started coming down in this mid-cycle shakeout, they are the ones that have been buying. Of course, this means that short-term holders, those that were buying over the past few months up to the top, have been selling. It's a great shame, because hopefully you can see by now that that's where the mistakes are made, and that's why I'm pointing this out. Long-term holders, whales, Bitcoin OGs, what they're doing when the price comes down is they are buying. And this looks extremely similar to 2013, where 2013 we had a long, protracted mid-cycle shakeout. And during that time, then the long-term holders were snapping up all of the cheap Bitcoin, and then we had our double peak. That's exactly what we're expecting this time. So as soon as we take out this nice level, hopefully we hold this level right now, take out a couple more levels, then we look into the all-time high and to the double peak, which we expect around mid to end of October. So these are the reasons to be extremely bullish on Bitcoin, as well as many others, of course. Don't get too wrapped up in the day-to-day, but we'll still follow the day-to-day on this channel up to the peak and make sure that we don't make any key mistakes along the way. So thank you for supporting, and I'll talk to you soon.